Tonight, a special assistance school in Broken Hill forced to close its doors, and vandals wreak havoc at the home of the Whyalla Historical Society.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening. A special assistance school in Broken Hill has been forced to close its doors after failing to meet a number of compliance matters. The Eagle Arts and Vocational College has 100 students from the age of 13 who refuse to attend or are rejected by the mainstream education system. Pat Reinke has more.
For 4 years, the Eagle Arts and Vocational College has helped dozens of at-risk teenagers by getting them into the classroom, but now its doors will soon shut. Late last year, the New South Wales Education Standards Authority, known as NESA, conducted a standards review into Eagle Arts. What followed was a bitter year-long stoush between the two parties. Earlier this year, the college even filed a complaint about NESA to the Anti-Discrimination Board, alleging NESA discriminated against the school on the grounds of race and disability. Earlier this week, NESA released a statement regarding the college. It said, due to non-compliance issues relating to staff, curriculum, premises and child protection, Eagle Arts is no longer a registered school in New South Wales. NESA said the areas of non-compliance are critical for operation and cause concern for the safety, welfare and education of the students. The New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal affirmed NESA's recommendation that the school's registration be cancelled and no longer renewed. Eagle Arts and Vocational College was contacted for comment.
Vandals have broken into a local Whyalla landmark, going on a destructive rampage. The home of the Whyalla Historical Society has been left trashed, while valuable artefacts were destroyed.
A heartless act, leaving a trail of destruction. The home of Whyalla's Historical Society has been left a mess after vandals caused thousands of dollars worth of damage. Situated in a historic train carriage at the Mount Laura homestead, the caretakers have been left devastated.
We've only been here just over 12 months and we're trying to make changes to the place and improve the place, and then we get this happen to.
Breaking through a window, the culprit smashed everything in sight. The carriage is situated just metres from Brian's home, but in an unfortunate twist, both he and his wife weren't home. Mr. Waters says the president of the society has already inspected the damage.
I opened the door for her because I told her she was going to cry as soon as she saw what she saw. And I'm very sure she just burst into tears.
While nothing substantial was stolen, priceless artefacts from Whyalla's past have been damaged beyond repair. It's understood the alleged culprits have been caught, but are under the age of 10.
I just can't understand. It's beyond me why somebody would just come in and do this damage without stealing anything.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
A 30-year-old man has been arrested after allegedly breaking into a Whyalla Liquorland and stealing 2 bottles of alcohol. Police allege that just before 5 o'clock this morning, they were called to the Westland Shopping Centre after reports a shop was broken into. Police quickly attended the centre and found a smashed front glass door. A man from Western Australia was arrested for serious criminal trespass and theft. Port Lincoln Police have been busy catching a number of drink drivers on our roads. 2 of those drivers blowing more than 4 times the legal blood alcohol limit. In the early hours of this morning, patrol stopped a ute on the Flinders Highway where the male driver blew .244. Another 2 male drivers were caught at the weekend, one of those recording a reading of .226. Council has secured nearly $100,000 from the state government to upgrade the Whyalla Airport. A fuel terminal for cars will be set up, along with a new command centre for emergency situations.
Whyalla's airport is a FIFA worker hotspot. Many need rental cars or to keep vehicles inside secure parking, which is a distance away from the nearest petrol station. They'll soon be able to fill up on site, with a new fuel terminal set to be built.
I mentioned on numerous occasions that it would be handy for us to have this kind of facility at the airport. Because now we have a good washdown facility.
It's all made possible from a state government grant. Also on the cards is a new building situated just next to the runway. While it'll have multiple uses, its main role will be to store vital emergency equipment.
The MFS only carry a certain amount of foam on their appliances, so we've actually got extra foam, etc. out here for them now, but there's no real place for it to be stored.
These projects are small upgrades which will help the big changes set to happen, with Whyalla earmarked by the Commonwealth for an upgrade in security.
We are looking at other options as well for the airport, so in the future, you know, the airport could be quite beneficial for Whyalla.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Meantime, Port Pirie's aerodrome will also be upgraded after the state government announced a cash injection of more than $30,000. An emergency generator, sealing the tarmac and a facelift to the waiting rooms will make the facility more operational for 2019.
Overall, it's going to just provide us the ability to do more than we plan to do this year, because now we've been able to get that grant, which is a great outcome for our airstrip.
The funding will also ensure that much needed upgrades will be made to the fences bordering the surrounding pastoral lands, making for a smoother landing for pilots who will no longer have to be on the lookout for rogue sheep crossing the airstrip. A proposed deep sea port on the Eyre Peninsula has attracted federal attention through a regional growth fund. Free Air is an SA grower-owned agribusiness and has applied for a $10 million bid to develop a site at Port Spencer between Tumby Bay and Port Neal. A grain port which will increase exporting opportunities for local growers. The project will now submit a full business case.
The fact that Free Air have got their proposal for the Port Spencer development up into like a full submission now, they'll put the business case in, is a significant win.
The Port Spencer project is expected to cost $140 million, with hopes to be delivering grain by the 2020-2021 harvest. The cost to service the life of the Wentworth to Broken Hill pipeline could notch close to $3 billion over 80 years. The New South Wales Water Minister says passing the ongoing cost onto locals will be up to the government of the day.
A $2.8 billion price tag, but the Water Minister says it's no secret.
The cost to operate, build, depreciate, all the pumping, the electricity, the whole thing is an easy figure to work out, and then you multiply that over the 80 years lifetime of the pipeline.
Last time he was in town, Minister Blair announced the state government would cover all costs of the Wentworth pipeline over the next 4 years. After that, a review will be conducted by the Independent Pricing Tribunal.
We'll pick up the tab for the operating cost. IPART then looks at that in another 4 years' time, and that will be the decision that is made by the government of the day.
Minister Blair says Broken Hill Mayor Daria Turley and the Labor Party are shooting from the hip when it comes to the pipeline.
Well, she said that she believes that it's prudent for the government to permanently remove the pipeline's construction, operation and maintenance and associated costs from any future IPART determinations. Now, because she's the candidate for Labor and the alternate government, that is an election commitment.
Labor put forward a motion in Parliament today calling for the pipeline's complete business case to be released. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. Still to come tonight, two-time Olympic gold medalist Anna Meares takes time out of her role at the Invictus Games to visit Port Augusta. Hello again. Our local youth have been playing a greater role in this year's local council elections. It's the first wave of people born after the year 2000 who can legally run for candidacy.
Young and ready to take charge. Generation Z is getting a head start in becoming our future leaders. Council chambers across the state, predominantly run by older Australians. Bucking that trend is a handful of passionate youngsters ready to make their mark.
Council is always seen as an elected member being an older person in the community, but I think it's really important that young people do have a voice, because we are the future of our towns and especially in regional communities.
In Whyalla, high schooler Alex Gemelli has put his hand up to join council, and if successful, he'll be the youngest member in history. Port Pirie is also backing a fresh face in Matt Perks.
My age is one of the things that people do ask me quite often, at 20 years old, why are you running? But I don't see it like that. I just want to see Port Pirie and the regions become something really great.
For Matt, it's all about the bigger picture. And he has a number of ideas which he feels will give Port Pirie a brighter future.
The A1 highway, it's massive, 5,900 cars a day, and if we get 6% come off that each day for a whole year, it's an extra $12 million to our region.
Voting closes for local council elections from 5 p.m. on November 9. Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
2 Eyre Peninsula students have been selected to participate in the Country to Canberra initiative. The program aims to empower regional girls by connecting them with politicians and executives in our nation's capital.
Today's the first time these 2 girls have met, but together they've earned themselves a trip of a lifetime. Madeline and Taylor will join 18 regional girls from around the nation to participate in the leadership program Country to Canberra.
It's great to have 2 kids from EP being able to have the opportunity to go over. I think it reflects on the great country kids that SA has, and I think we're pretty privileged to be going on the trip together.
Questioning gender equality is one of the main reasons the girls decided to enter the essay writing competition.
If we're looking at definitive solutions about how we can get more females in power, then we need to start working together.
The program, led by country girl Hannah Wandell, will see the girls have the chance to rub shoulders and have conversations with some of the country's most powerful women. The Year 12 students from Port Lincoln and Cummins say the trip is a great opportunity for them to start thinking about their careers as future leaders.
I want to be a leader and I want to create a career in law and become a lawyer hopefully one day.
Work towards a path in maybe policy or politics and be able to help the environment in the best way I can and help develop sustainable solutions for the future.
The girls will head to Canberra next month. Casey Treloar, Southern Cross News.
Young science enthusiasts in Port Augusta have got a small taste of what to expect at this weekend's Science Alive Festival, conducting experiments at the old power station site. The free event has been running for the last 7 years and kids can take part in hands-on activities as well as watch spectacular science shows.
We've got robotics workshops, we've got a huge inflatable planetarium which hasn't been to Port Augusta before. This seats 50 people at a time for a journey through the night sky.
The Science Alive Festival will begin at 10 a.m. at Central Oval. Broken Hill has produced another gold medal winner at Sydney's Invictus Games. Sarah Slivka won gold in the women's lightweight powerlifting, leading comfortably the whole event. Her winning lift was 12 kilograms heavier than the competitor in second place. She's the second local to win gold after Marcus Wilson won in the team sailing on the weekend. Uniting Country SA employees from across the state were today treated to a surprise visit from a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Cyclist Anna Mears took time out of her role at the Invictus Games to share stories to a packed room in Port Augusta.
With a professional career spanning 15 years and 6 Olympic medals to show for it, cyclist Anna Mears certainly has plenty of tales to tell.
And it's really enjoyable for me to be able to share some of my story, hopefully inspire.
Now a proud South Aussie, she says she loves to get out to rural areas and was today given the opportunity to speak to almost 200 staff from United Country SA in Port Augusta.
These workers do wonderful things. The support they offer to family, to youth, to the elderly, just to name a few of the areas that they cover, is remarkable.
And although Mears proudly showed off her Olympic medals, her success story hasn't been without its hurdles. In 2008, Mears broke her neck just 7 months before the Beijing Olympics. Having resilience is something she wants these workers to take back into their lives.
Not only do you have to learn to be resilient and balanced, but also give yourself the credit and celebrate the little wins when they come along, because they don't happen that often.
Organisers say Anna's story has touched many in the room.
She is well-grounded and it's very inspirational.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. After the break, we'll have fish and tips. And in the weather, some absolutely gorgeous conditions forecast for the Gulf this weekend. I'll have all the local weather details next. Welcome back. Time now to see what's biting around the Gulf.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips from Port Pirie. It's the perfect time to start fishing. The weather's getting warmer and there's plenty of long days as well. So what we usually try and do at this particular time is start looking for garfish. They should be around the top end of the water, and you'll also find that the King George whiting is still here around the Eastern Shoal Way. There's been a few squid which are a bit unusual, but they're mostly found at Port Broughton. But yellowfin whiting is the go at this particular moment. Start your hunting looking for those guys. They'll be along from Talawi Beach to Barrows Beach. So just go out and wait at night time and see how you go. They do like the incoming tide and a moving bait. That's all we've got. You'll see you next.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Draw the North. Well, there's a few fish around. The King George whiting is still there, but there's a lot of shitties in the area too that's sort of hampering the efforts there. Bit of a tip burley up and then cast about 10 metres behind the burley and you should pick up the odd whiting. Heaps of kingfish at the moment. Down around the powerhouse, up in Port Patterson, but also around the top of the Gulf, up around the train bridge. The big news at the moment, there is a shark swimming down around there, around the number 9 Letty Spit area, so just be aware of that. The crabs are just starting to come on the bite as well, and you should get a feed of salmon up around Port Patterson. That's all we have from the Jewel North.
Hi, Whalers fishing report this week. Snapper have been a little bit hard to find, but there is some good fish starting to come in before the closure. Around the Rip has been very hit and miss. A few of the local spots out the front have also been hit and miss, but there are some good signs out there, so get amongst it nice and early. For the King George whiting, they're slowing down a little bit. A lot of the toadies are moving in. Along the land base, there's been some really nice sized salmon still coming in from the Point Lowly area. A little bit further out towards Becky Point on the shallow rocks, there's been some nice flathead coming in, so get amongst those.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Well, we're starting to get quite a few reports back from the far west, which is good to see. And there have been some good mulloway caught over the last 1 to 2 weeks. And there have been some gummy sharks and a few salmon up that way as well. Back closer to home in the bay in Port Lincoln, the whiting have been up and down a bit. There's still squid in the bay in Lincoln and also some snook. Moving out to Coffins, Farm Beach is still holding on and there's some whiting starting to move inside the bay systems at Coffins as well. And there's been plenty of boats on the water trying for those kingfish, but not a lot of reports coming through. And that's it for Fishing Tips this week. We'll see you again next week with more tips.
And now let's check out what's happening in the weather. Well, it was an absolute cracker around the Gulf today, nothing but sunshine, and it warmed up too. Port Augusta reached a top of 32 degrees. On the satellite, patchy cloud in the southeast is clearing as a low and trough move further east. Skies are clearer in the west. On the waters for your Friday, southerly shifting southwesterly winds up to 20 knots, seas at a metre with a south-southwesterly swell. And these stunning springtime conditions will hang around tomorrow. Port Pirie warming up to 31 degrees, Whyalla, Clare and Kadina all heading for a max of 27. Lovely conditions forecast for the weekend too. Port Lincoln 22 the max on Saturday, and we could see the odd light shower in some centres. Cleve will see temps in the mid-20s. A mostly sunny outlook here too. Whyalla 27 the max over the weekend before the odd sprinkle on Monday. Warm in Port Augusta, 32 the top tomorrow and Saturday. Cloudy on Sunday before temps drop back down a little with a chance of a shower. And all centres here could see the odd shower on Sunday as it cools off a bit. Port Pirie 25 the top, Clare 21 the max, and finding up for Monday again, Broken Hill heading for a top of 27 degrees. And that's all from the team. Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening.